Good evening and welcome to Baturdays in the Batcave on Omnidog's Vault. I'm Omnidog, your host, co-host with the Minister of Comics, Taylor Brown. How's it going, Taylor?
I'm very tired, but I'm ready to go with the show. I was just telling Jess we had my son Bat Sam's first birthday party, and let me just say that's a very exhausting endeavor. It's more stressful than you think it is.
Yeah.
People say that the first birthday party is more for the mom and dad. I want to start it's more for all the guests that you invite because you still have to host everybody. You got to make sure they're having fun. I had to cook, lunch for everybody. So I assert it's more for the people who come to the party.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to be here. This is my blowing steam off of the day. So I'm really excited to be talking to everybody.
I loved your text where you said you pretended to go to the bathroom for 20 minutes for some quiet time.
It was only like 5 minutes, but it was a much needed 5 minutes because around 2 o'clock I had to put Sam down for his nap. So after that, I'm like, I don't want to go back down there yet. And so I just sat in the toilet for 5 minutes, just playing on my phone. And I texted Jess, and I'm like, I'm just pretending like I'm going to the bathroom, even though I don't have to. We've all done that as parents, though.
Yeah, the birthday thing just changes every year with your kid because eventually the it'll stay small when they're little with like their two little playground Goombas coming over or something. Then it'll get bigger in middle school and everything and
Right.
stuff like that.
Yeah, it was one of those things where like it was more about having it at our house. If we went to like a roller rink or something like that, I feel like that'd be easier because it's not really people traipsing around your house. So
Yeah,
I think that would be a little bit easier. But I was telling Jess the theme was Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, so I have my Rad Dad shirt on. So we all had a Mickey Mouse themed shirt. That's one of Sam's favorite TV shows. His top 3 favorite TV shows are Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, Sesame Street, and Daniel Tiger. So he loves all
I don't know
those.
the third one.
Well, do you know Mr. Rogers?
Yeah.
Daniel Tiger's one of the characters. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's an animated show focused on Daniel Tiger.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure our audience is captivated by this conversation. if I'm running a little bit sluggish today, I just wanted to let everybody know in the chat. It's just that's the reason why. So Jeff is going to come in with the energy tonight.
Thank you for the compliments on my shirt. I appreciate it. I just got it in. I just got a new shipment in. So I'll be wearing new shirts for the next few shows.
Oh, nice. How many did you get in?
5.
That's pretty nice, though. Where do you mainly order them from? Is it from different places?
These I all got from Graffiti Designs.
Is that like $20 a pop?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not too
and
bad.
They're really super nice quality. I mean, you can see, first of all, the screen print or whatever it is just really nice. And they're nice thickness and they fit perfectly.
The question is, do those designs fall apart after a lot of times in the wash? That can happen sometimes.
I have had my Bombshell shirts from Graffiti Design since 2012, and they have nothing's happened to them.
Do you know what I'm talking about, though, where it starts to fade and crack and everything? And it looks terrible.
Oh, yeah. This will peel off or whatever, yeah.
Maybe Graffiti Designs can sponsor our show someday. We're already giving you some ad space, so sponsor us.
Yeah.
What else did you get besides Batgirl?
You want me to go get them? They're right outside the door.
Sure.
Okay, just a sec.
Yeah, M-Man40 knows what's up with Daniel Tiger, Anna, Prince Wednesday, and Daniel. Sam definitely loves that show. Hayden, I'm not sure what he said. He's asking us, have you guys talked about your thoughts on Future State? Oh, is that the new DC initiative to put everything in the future for 2 months in 2021? I think it's called Future State. Remember, Jess and I are unimpressed, and we're not planning on reading it unless we hear rave reviews.
Well, I changed my mind when I saw that first Wonder Woman cover by shoot.
You're so easily swayed.
Jen Bartel did the Wonder Woman cover where Wonder Woman has Batman's utility belt on, Green Lantern's ring around her neck, and it's like she's taken over and is the supreme being or something. It's called the Immortal Wonder Woman. So I think it might be good. I might give it a shot, but I'm not going to give it a shot in singles.
It's just a weird thing that's like a 2-month initiative. Like, what can they really accomplish in 2 months with all these different books? I almost wish it was like its own separate thing, because you're going to interrupt the flow of all these different books to shoot it years in the future just for 2 months. So, I mean, I don't want to judge it until I've read it. I'm just not excited about it. If I hear good things, I'll check it out in collected edition, though.
Yeah. That Wonder Woman cover really sold me on the idea. I don't know. And Jen Bartel is such a good artist. If she does the interiors, that's going to be really cool. And Becky Cloonan might be writing it. So I don't know. It sounds like it could be good.
Do you know if the regular writers of these titles are writing these stories, or if somebody else is jumping in for 2 months? Did they say in that article?
I will be 100% honest with you. You have heard everything I know about it so far.
Okay. I couldn't tell. They showed the covers, but they didn't put the creators' names on the titles. So I couldn't tell if, James Tynion and Jorge Jimenez are doing the Batman Future State book. I couldn't. If I had to assume, I think it's going to be other people jumping in, and then they'll kind of like just work ahead on their books. And I agree with Hayden McGee. The thing that annoys me is that DC kept telling us, we're not doing 5G. We're not doing 5G. But this sounds a whole heck of a lot like 5G, because 5G was supposed to be a big shakeup, having different people step into the costumes. It just sounds like it's kind of like their shortened version of 5G. But I don't want to judge it until I've heard more thoughts about it or until I've read it. I'm just not excited about it as of October 17th, 2020. Maybe I'll eat my words next year.
As of October 16th, when I saw that cover, I was excited for Wonder Woman anyway.
Jess, it's really easy to change Jess's mind. It can be like that. Because Jess told me last night, I couldn't want to read this less. Like, he was not interested. And all of a sudden, the mind has totally changed.
Well, yeah. Once I saw all the writer and the artist and the cool cover, I'm excited about Wonder Woman anyway. I don't know what any of the other concepts are. But you're right. Yeah, I can be easily swayed one way or the other. You're right.
There have been so many times where, like, I'll text Jess on a Tuesday when IST drops stuff. I'm like, you buying this? No way. And then he'll send me a picture of his latest haul. I'm like, you said you weren't going to buy that. He's like, yeah, I think I might have heard someone say it was good. So I decided to pick it up. You never know what Jess is actually going to do. Isn't there like a collected edition of a Black Label Wonder Woman book coming out soon that we wanted to read? I think it's by Daniel Warren Johnson, who did Murder Falcon. It's like, if anyone can tell us in the chat, I remember we were talking about it with Maddie a couple months ago when we did our Wonder Woman spotlight. She was talking about a really good DC Black Label Wonder Woman book that's coming out this fall in collected edition.
Oh, okay.
If anyone can tell us, that'd be really great, because I can't remember what the concept was or what the title was. I think it was the guy who did, is it Daniel Warren Johnson who did Murder Falcon?
Yeah.
Okay, so Barnacle Blake said it's called Dead Earth. So let me look that up. I remember Maddie telling us we should read that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Daniel Warren Johnson. Let's see when the collected edition's coming out.
Wonder Woman Dead Earth. Okay.
It's coming out December 1st, according to Amazon. It's probably coming out late November on IST or in comic book stores. Here's what it says about it. When Diana awakens from a centuries-long sleep, she discovers Earth has been reduced to a nuclear wasteland. Now she's marooned in a dark and dangerous future, protecting the last human city from titanic monsters and struggling to uncover the secret of this dead Earth and how she may be responsible for it. That sounds pretty good. It kind of sounds like The Last Night on Earth by Scott Snyder. Hopefully it won't be as disappointing at the end. That book was just okay. It was fine.
Right. It was fine.
It's worthy of being in my collection, but it's not one of my favorite Snyder books.
Yeah, I'm not giving it away.
Right.
Nman40 has a good question. Jess, my uncle bought the Joker omnibus yesterday. I wouldn't have bought it, but am I right in saying it's a mishmash of Joker issues throughout the Silver Bronze Age? Yeah, it is. I have an overview of it in my channel if you want to look more at it. it's more Bronze Age stuff than Silver Age. I think it starts, if I'm right, I can't remember now, and it's not within reach. If I'm right, I think it's Batman 251, where it's like the Joker's return to the Bronze Age or something, and it's Neil Adams art, and it starts the book off, but there's no more Neil Adams art in it throughout the rest of it. It is a thick book.
Is it recolored, Neil Adams?
No, it's regular old Neil Adams.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then it's just Joker appearances, including his Joker comic book, which ran 9 or 10 issues, I think. My overview goes through the whole thing if you ever want to check it out, but it's mostly his Bronze Age mishmashy appearances.
I'm surprised you bought that book with your Joker fatigue.
I'm surprised I did too. Because I even bought. What I'm really surprised I bought was Killer Smile. I really was against buying Killer Smile until it came time to order it, and I thought, it's Jeff Lemire
and Andrea Sorrentino.
Yeah,
fantastic. I don't know how to say his first name. I just assume it's that. I have no idea.
It sounds right.
It's hard because I know he's a dude, but his name sounds like Andrea, but I think it's Andrea. I don't know what it is. If anyone can correct us, maybe it's like Stepan Shejic or whatever. We'll never be able to say it, and he likes that we're never able to say it.
Yeah, he gets a kick out of it.
So Jeff, I saw you, Andrea. I was close.
Yeah.
So I saw you post on your Instagram yesterday that you read Savage Avengers. So sell me on that book. Is this a book that you think I would enjoy?
Let's see. Do you like Conan, first of all?
I read some of Jason Aaron's Conan on Hoopla, and I actually did enjoy it.
Okay.
It's kind of like his Thor run to a certain degree, where you see a young Conan and King Conan when he's older, kind of like how he messes with young Thor in the present day, and then King Thor in the future. So I thought it was interesting. So I think I'd be interested in Conan in that way.
Because you have to be interested. Conan is the central. He's the character that doesn't change throughout the whole run. I researched up through issue 16. I got the first 2 trades. I really loved it, and I thought at first that the first book was going to be the Savage Avengers, because it was Wolverine and Venom and Elektra and Punisher and Conan and Dr. Voodoo. I thought this is the greatest team up ever, but it changes with every story arc.
The characters do, like the roster changes.
Yeah, Conan is the only one that stays the same. In issue 2, volume 2, you get Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange, and that's a good coupling. Let's see. I feel like Black Widow was in it.
Cool.
I feel like that. I can't remember now.
It's kind of like regular Avengers books. They kind of come in and out all the time. They bring in different characters.
It's got, and then I looked ahead at the issues that are solicited through like number 16, and they're completely different teams. Through that, they all have to do with Conan trying to deal with this modern day sorcerer who and of course Conan hates sorcerers, so the first 2 trades deal with Conan and the Savage Avengers dealing with this modern day sorcerer who has actually fought Conan in the past, like back in the Hyperborean era. And he's trying, in the first trade paperback, this wizard is trying to raise a spirit by collecting the blood of the most savage people he can find. And it turns out to be like Frank Castle and Wolverine, and that's how they all get there in this one spot to try and get their blood. to contact this evil deity. And
that definitely sounds like a book you would like.
They keep chasing him throughout the whole series so far.
It definitely sounds like a book you would enjoy, kind of the occultic type stuff.
There's not really that much occult stuff as much as there is completely bloody action, which is great. And Jerry Duggan, I think, does a good job of the caveman in modern times type trope. He does a good job with Conan in modern times. Like he wants.
How does Conan get here? Like to our
you have to read No Road Home from Avengers trade paperback. But
I'll look it up on Wikipedia article.
What's that?
I might just look it up on Wikipedia.
Well, I'm also doing a video on it tomorrow.
Maybe I'll just watch that. I don't want to buy a random book to help me understand what's going on in this book, or I'll just do a Jess brag and say he's here or whatever. I'll just accept it.
You can do that, but actually, No Road Home is really good. I enjoyed it, and it shows how Conan gets here. And yeah, I'm going to do a video on it tomorrow. But he's here, and he wants to plunder. He seems to be respectful of women. He's not like grabbing wenches and throwing them over his shoulder, but he does still want to plunder. And he makes friends with Wolverine in the first issue, and it's a really funny friendship in the first trade paperback. Conan, and I always say, I keep going back and forth between Conan and Conan. Conan has a really funny friendship with Wolverine in the first trade.
We'll have to ask Omar how to pronounce Conan.
No, we won't.
Jimmy, me and Jasper were poking fun at Omar yesterday because his recent video from yesterday, he instead of saying Jimmy Palmiotti, he said Jimmy Palmiotti. So we can add that to Omar's ever-growing list of mispronunciations that are hilarious.
Well, didn't you sent me a screenshot of it, and underneath some other viewers correcting his pronunciation.
Yeah, Omar has some difficulties there with Rorschach and Lane Wayne.
Professor Flex is right. Punisher and Conan on their road trip was definitely the highlight for me. Yeah, they have to. The way the wizard gets Frank Castle to they're in the Savage Land. The way they get him there is they steal the bodies of his family, and they take it to the Savage Land in this temple where they want to call up this deity, and that's supposed to draw Frank Castle there, which it does. And then at the end, when they're all victorious, I won't spoil it for you except to say that Punisher and Conan doesn't want to fly. He doesn't trust it. So he's going to hike from the Savage Land to, I forget where, like across the Antarctic, where they're going to hitchhike on a Russian freighter or something. And it's the conversations between the Punisher and Conan are funny because they're dragging the bodies in coffins behind them, making this Arctic trip.
Well, let's see how big of a Conan fan you are, Jess. Whenever they ask Conan what is best in life, do you remember what he says in the old Arnold Schwarzenegger movie? Conan, what is best in life? Do you remember?
No.
To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of the women.
Oh, right.
One of the best Arnold quotes.
That is true.
I don't think there's an actor alive who has more famous quotes than Arnold Schwarzenegger. Just how the full body of them is just crazy.
I used to see you.
Don't include Batman and Robin. And Lloyd Wong, you're definitely right. It definitely sounds like the Berserker Unbound book by Lemire for Dark Horse. I read that last month on Hoopla, and I really enjoyed it. I'm holding out for an inevitable library edition because I know there's more to come. I'm assuming I'll probably get a library edition down the road if Lemire.
Berserker?
Yeah, because it's supposed to continue. So I'm assuming we'll probably get more down the road.
Yeah. it's like that, only it's I don't know. They're two. It's the same sort of idea, and it's not a new idea, but it's a different idea because of the roving cast of characters that are in it. Doctor Voodoo seems to be a constant in the first two.
That's a character you really don't see anymore.
Sorry?
That's a character you really don't see at all in Marvel books.
No, I feel like Elektra's in the second book, and I don't know, they're right outside. I could get them, but it's really, I really, really enjoyed it. It is fun. What it is fun. And it's not all you have to do is read Avengers No Road Home. It's a great story, and it tells you how Conan got here. Or you can just read the two Savage Avengers trades.
I'll watch your video tomorrow and see what I think.
Okay.
And Professor Flex says he would love to see a modern day Arnold do an R-rated King Conan movie. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's not a good actor. He is a entertaining actor, though, but he's definitely lost whatever acting skills he had before he was the governor. He used to be at least okay. He's kind of gone downhill, so I don't know if I really want to see many more movies from him.
He acted like he wasn't a cheating husband.
I mean, that Arnold can't hold a candle to T2 Arnold or True Lies. I love True Lies. That's a great movie.
I love T2, but I never saw True Lies.
Ooh, you would really like that movie, Jess. That's a lot of fun. That's a great Arnold movie.
Okay.
Or Kindergarten Cop.
I did see that.
It's not a tumor. But I think Savage Avengers is on Hoopla, so I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm trying to be careful about what trades I buy now because I'm sick to death of upgrading stuff.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I know you're trying to do that too, especially with image trades. I just don't want to do it anymore. It's just so annoying, and I'm so weak with certain books. Some books I don't care. I can resist. Like the Mr. Miracle Deluxe that just came out, I had to buy that. I couldn't resist it. And I said to Jess, if they come out with an absolute, that's going to be a challenge not to upgrade for me. But I might need Jess to hold me back from that one.
I will try and talk you out of that because I think a deluxe is fine. That's what I got. I don't need.
Yeah, I'll try to convince myself of that if they ever come out with an absolute. That sold out quick on IST.
Mr. Miracle?
Well, I guess it wasn't super quick. I think it was a couple days, but that World of Black Hammer again, that sold out really quick. We barely got that one.
Yeah, there's going to be better amounts of stuff coming in now to IST because he has to order. Cameron from IST has to order 6 months in advance. So at the end of this month, when the New Mutants Omnibus comes out, that's the first book he's had a chance to up his orders on since the pandemic.
That makes more sense.
And so there should be a ton more stuff starting with New Mutants all the way through the rest of the year.
They're pretty much ordering a lot of everything going forward. Not of everything, but the ones they know are going to sell, like Black Hammer library editions and things like that.
I guess, but other weird stuff, not weird stuff, but off the radar stuff has been selling out too.
Well, even their backlog is selling out because people are going back to books they haven't bought yet because people are buying more and now they're buying out their back stock. So I've even checked some series I wanted to round out, but they don't have them anymore because people beat me to it.
Yeah.
So even books you want to kind of fill in your library, those might even be hard to find because people are. I mean, I guess I'm still buying the same amount, but people have been buying like in droves, like just buying a ton.
Well, yeah, and I guess there's a new influx of collectors out there too. I would guess.
Or people are just like, I need to have these books right now because I don't have as much to do as I used to. Like I'm not going on vacation this year. I'm not going out to the movies. I have a little more income because all that income I would use for other things, I'll just put it towards comics, I guess.
Well, it's been relentless. I mean, it's been all summer and all fall.
Well, N-Man 40, I can affirm that World of Black Hammer did come out in IST because I have it. And that's where I ordered it. And so did Jess.
Yeah, we both got it from IST.
It sold out in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's why it wasn't there. It was barely even there.
Yeah.
Jess, I was 2 minutes away from losing it. I ordered it at 3:08 because the website kept crashing, and Jess saw me as the non-minister of comics for 10 minutes, and then at 3:10, it was gone.
Yeah, and I believe they're upgrading their servers too.
Oh, nice. Because that was definitely a stressful experience.
Yeah.
And Professor Flex is talking about a series you really love, Jess. And I think this is kind of a reason why you want to hold back on buying trades.
As I have 5 of them of this series. Speaking of upgrading to deluxes, I want to read Ice Cream Man really badly, and there's been no word of any deluxes, and it's been around for years. Not sure how much longer I want to wait. That's a good point. I don't know how much longer I'd wait if I were you. I feel like after 5 trades, though, that it really deserves an oversized hardcover. But it's such a crapshoot. You never know with Marvel or Image what's going to get an oversized hardcover.
Image is a lot different than Marvel and DC, though, because Marvel and DC, their collected editions department decide, where at Image, the creators themselves decide.
Right.
And they have to put their own money up front into it. So if they're not sure they're going to recoup their investment, they're not going to do it. I mean, someone like Brian K. Vaughan or Ed Brubaker, they know they're going to sell their stock out. They know they're going to have people buy it. But if you're, up and comer Joe Schmo at Image, you don't want to invest in a hardcover if you don't know it's going to sell.
But Ice Cream Man has been selling out all the time since the
That's
first
true.
issue.
I'm sure. I mean, just imagine having to really put your money where your mouth is in that way and really have to invest in it. And that it's a risk. I mean, for them, it probably wouldn't be as much of a risk because the series is popular. But I can imagine why some would be reticent to do that, as opposed to Marvel or DC, who fronts the money and they don't have to put any of it into it.
Well, I think it'd be a no-brainer to put out a deluxe of Ice Cream Man because it is really popular. I think it would sell immediately.
I wonder if they would not do a deluxe because it's more of like an anthology series than it is like a series of like ongoing stories. But I don't know.
Have you read it at all?
I haven't read it. I just, based on what you say, it's a bunch of like kind of one-off horror stories, right?
Yeah, and there's a thread that goes through.
Oh, there is. Okay.
Yeah.
I must have missed that. Okay.
Yeah.
But I agree. I really have been slowing down on buying Image trades for sure. And just trades in general, because I don't want to get burned. And I don't want to keep having to upgrade stuff and sell stuff or give it to my friends. I just don't want to do that anymore.
I think I don't know why I kept buying Gideon Falls, and I don't know why I kept buying Black Hammer, because I knew they were going to get super upgraded.
Yeah, never buy a Jeff Lemire book and trade. You know it's going to get a hardcover. Just don't do it. They always get a hardcover.
Yeah.
More often than not. But I really like the first 2 trades of Gideon Falls that I read on Hoopla. I need to finish the last 2 on Hoopla as well. Well, I think there's one more trade. I think the 5th trade will be the last one in December.
No, I think that's what I heard.
And I really want them to come out with Ascender in deluxe edition because Descender is my favorite Jeff Lemire book. I love that story.
It is out in deluxe, isn't it?
Descender is, not Ascender, which is the follow-up series.
Oh, I thought you said Descender.
I said I love Descender and I have both deluxes. I want them to solicit a Ascender deluxe edition.
I do too, because that's where I exercise some restraint, and I haven't bought any Ascender. I'm waiting for the hardcover.
You had the trade of Descender, but then you upgraded. I think I convinced you to upgrade.
Yes.
Okay. You're welcome.
Right.
Jess and I are each other's yes men.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to be trying to sell Descender and a bunch of other trades that I've upgraded from on the Omnibus group.
I love Dustin Nguyen's art in that book. Those watercolors are fantastic. Yeah. That's a book you have to own in deluxe. Someone's asking, why do I get the absolutes that I have and not smaller versions? Well, Jess, that kind of goes into our topic for tonight.
That is
a great segue. We're talking about our favorite prestige edition, collected editions books. So the books in our collection that are the fanciest ones that really are well made. We're not talking about small dinky trade paperbacks here. We're talking about absolutes, library editions, really nice deluxe editions, books that really show off the amazing art and the amazing stories that we enjoy so much. There's nothing wrong with a trade paperback, but there are some books you just want to own in a premium format. And Jess, something we were talking about last night that we decided to save for a show is, what do you think you like better, library editions or absolute editions from DC?
Oh, that's right. I forgot I was supposed to be thinking about this. Library editions.
Because I don't know how to say this guy's name. Is it Harney? Warne? I don't know how to say your name. I'm really sorry.
Yarny Powell.
Yeah, Yarny. I would say you get absolutes and you get library editions of books that you love the art for. That format is for art.
Yeah.
So I know Jess loves Swamp Thing by Alan Moore, but he's not infatuated with the art per se. He likes the art, but he doesn't love it. So he decided to keep the deluxe editions. Whereas some people love the art of Absolute Swamp Thing, so that's why they got the Absolute. So I only get books in super oversized if I love the art. Right. And that's why I have all the apps. I only have 4 Absolutes so far, but all the Absolutes I have are artists that I greatly enjoy and greatly love. So that's why I get those books. But Jess, if you had to say I like library editions better or Absolutes, because they're pretty much the same height, I think.
They are, but for bang for your buck, I think library editions are a better deal because they're super high quality for a lot less money, and I think you even get a ribbon in some of them.
You do. I think most of. I'm looking at some of the ones I have, and they all have it.
Yeah, and so I think they're the better I favor library editions over absolutes. Fortunately, I live in a world where I can get both, but right. I'm going to say library edition.
And absolutes do have good paper, but that paper stock they use for library editions are super thick. I love the paper that they use. Yeah. And I agree. A library edition, I think, is at most $50.
Yeah.
An IST can get it for $20-some, whereas an absolute is most typically $100 cover price, which is a lot of money. I think some are $75, but more often than not, it's $100. So $50 cheaper for a same size book from Dark Horse. I think Dark Horse has the best prices of any comic book publisher for what they give you.
Yeah, I agree.
Even though their books sell out super quickly, and they can be really hit or miss with restocking stuff. So yeah. I definitely agree with you there. So Jess, what is your first collected edition that you want to show off?
The first one I will show off is because it's at the top of the stack. Is the Bill Sienkiewicz New Mutants.
Didn't Riley super bait you into that?
Yes. This is a super bait from Riley.
Recommendation.
And it was a gift from Bond Idlehouse. So that's why it means a lot to me. It's a signed, this is copy number 10. It's signed and numbered. And it is, what I like about it is that this is the Artist Select series, which is different because this is the entire complete story in this particular storyline. That goes New Mutants 18 through 31, and then X-Men Unlimited 43, which is like the Demon Bear is in there, the Demon Bear saga type thing. So this is huge, and it is super nicely reproduced, very nicely reproduced.
What's the size of that? Is that the size of an absolute, or is it a little bit smaller?
Just a sec. It's bigger.
Oh, wow.
It's about 1.5 inches bigger.
Is it kind of like the Parker Martini edition where it won't fit on a Kallax?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no way would it fit on a Kallax. So I like the presentation, and I like that it's signed and numbered, and I of course love that Bond made, once he found out that I was interested in it, got it for me, made it a gift to me, and because that's the kind of thing that really, I don't know. That's when a friend sends you something like this, it makes an impression on you.
He sent it to you for free.
Yeah, as a
Oh
gift.
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a gift, and so something like this. I think Riley needed money for something like 58 more manga, and I think he had because he wanted to buy manga or something, and he's the one that super baited me into this. But this is I'm not going to sell this because it was a gift, and I don't even know what it's worth on the open market. I actually don't care.
Did Marvel actually publish that, or is it through a different publisher? Because Marvel never publishes things like that.
Right. It's IDW.
That's what I thought. Because Marvel, I can't think of a book where Marvel's done something like that for.
Yeah, I think IDW usually does these kind of artist things for Marvel.
Right. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah. So
that kind of even goes to a question we were talking about last night, Jess, that as much as we praise Marvel for really being consistent and having uniformity with their collected editions, they don't really have an abundance of oversized, really nice premium collected editions like an Absolute or a Library edition.
Yeah.
They have Omnis, they have Deluxes, which are nice. And we all know how DC is flawed. We all know that DC makes really bad decisions. You can't argue that an Absolute is nicer than any other collected edition that Marvel comes out with. So I think it's interesting that Marvel hasn't really come out with something that's comparable to that, because they have so many great stories that would look great in that format.
And they have like the titanium editions and the adamantium editions, and I've got a Marvels that's a huge book. I could have used that in this presentation.
But they're kind of few and far between, is what I'm trying to say. They don't really happen that much. Whereas I feel like they would make a lot of money doing like an Absolute version of a Marvel book.
They don't have a consistent format that's big and oversized like that, like an Absolute.
I wonder if it's because we always talk about how DC has the better standalone evergreen stories, whereas Marvel has better runs. Maybe it's harder to invest in something like that when you're coming out with multiple volumes of it. So maybe that's why DC kind of lends itself more to the Absolute edition.
Yeah, maybe.
And MN40 is talking about the Hellboy library editions, how he heard they're really nice, but he's been told the material on the covers is a magnet for dust, and I've heard it can attract dog hair in some people's house, but I don't own those myself.
I own them, and I can see how that might be true, but it didn't keep me from getting them.
Felix has a question for us, Jess. What do you think about that?
Do you consider an omnibus a prestige edition? I think the idea that we had for this is, I would say, for this show that we're doing, I would not consider an omnibus a prestige edition. I consider something that is either like a limited edition, limited format, special presentation, I think is what we're looking for. Something special here that's out of the ordinary, something extra. And omnibuses are just, they're oversized format. They're better than a digest size book, but I personally don't consider an omnibus a prestige edition compared to the stuff that we're going to be showing.
Even though I do love deluxe editions, I think that's my preferred format. I love deluxe editions, and I also enjoy library editions and absolutes. Omnis aren't really my preferred collected editions. I know that's kind of blasphemy in the group that we run in, but I just think they're way too big some of the times. I have smaller Omnis, books that are like 900 pages or less. Like, I'm not going to get the War that I obviously would have missed out anyway. The War of the Realms 1500 pager, I don't want that in my collection, to be honest. But I know some people love it, and that's great. It's just not my preferred collected edition, even though they are nice.
Yeah, that's a personal thing. I'm with you that my preferred style is the oversized hardcover to read.
Right. So I'll go with my first choice. This is the book I got in recently, and I'm really excited for the second one, and that is the Parker Martini edition.
Nice.
I love this book, and I'm really glad they reprinted it so I can enjoy it in this way, because the only other option you really have is these really thin digest editions. And as you all know, if you've seen our Crime Corner show, Jess and I love crime stories, and I think Parker is one of the top 5 greatest crime comics of all time. It's fantastic. And my only critique of this book is that I can't fit it on my K-Lac shelf because it's so freaking big.
Yeah.
This is the biggest book that I own. I don't know what the biggest book you own is, Jess. Maybe it's the infamous Little Nemo.
Yeah, it is.
Whose title is very ironic.
Little Nemo.
But I think the hope is that Jess and I will review this series. I mean, look how tall this thing is. Holy crap. I can't even fit it in the frame. I think the hope is that Jess and I are going to review this series once the second and final Martini edition comes out.
Yeah.
And so I love this book. The only critique I have is that it smells kind of weird. The pages smell kind of weird. I don't know if you ever noticed that, Jess.
Oh, no, I didn't notice that.
It's not bad. It's just like, you ever smelled some of your books and it's like, oh man, that is awesome. Like, it just smells so good. This one, I'm like, I don't know about this one. I don't know why it smells the way that it does. But I'm not sure if this is still in stock on IST or Cheap Graphic Novels, but if it is, you need to pick this up. It is a book you need to have in your collection. You will not regret it. This is a top creator at the top of his form doing some of the top crime books of all time. And this book is massive. So what do you have next, Jess?
I'm trying to decide if I can show it on air.
Uh-oh. Is Emily's mom in the chat?
It's a different book. I can't show it on air.
Just show off the cover at least.
I don't even know if I can show the cover.
Oh boy.
Wait a minute. I'll find something. This also was a gift from the fabulous Mike Noah, who found out of my love of Bruce Timm, and so he gave me this.
There you go.
Nice, way hard to find in any format. There's several formats for it, but any format it's hard to find. This was not the book that I was that I had the night that Emily's mom was in the chat. But as you can see, it's very nice. It has a slipcase, and it's mostly his good girl art, drawings of girls. Okay, here's something I can show.
Is this a book that's in your Call Omar box?
No, it's on display.
Okay.
Because I love it. So, and I look at it a lot just because I love all the art so much. No.
I really wish Bruce Timm did more sequential work in comics. He is such a fantastic artist. He's so unique.
Yeah. He just came out with the Big T's, a new art book.
Is that another good girl book?
Yeah. Only I couldn't show you any of it.
Didn't you buy a cover that he did for Marvel with Mary Jane?
Yeah.
I was telling you, that's probably going to be worth something, because I can't think of any other time he's done a Marvel character or a Marvel drawing. That's really rare. He does. I mean, he just does DC. I mean, think of all the DC cartoons that he's done.
Yeah.
He really runs in that circle. I mean, someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not an expert on Bruce Timm's career, except for the animated series and his cartoon stuff. But I can't think of a time we ever drew a Marvel character besides that cover you showed me. I was almost shocked when you showed it to me.
Huh. I thought it was great. It hasn't come out yet, but I pre-ordered it. I just thought it was great.
And someone was asking us earlier. Oh, Paul Baker's asking, his only exposure to Darwin Cook's noir storytelling is his Catwoman original graphic novel, which is Selena's big score, and that's fantastic. I know Jess and I both love that book.
We do.
How good is Parker, and is his style any different from his mainstream work? Well, I just said it's one of the best crime books that you'll ever read. I think it's a little bit different because every single story arc has a different color palette. One will have green overtones, one will have gold, one will have blue. and it really matches the tone of the story that he's telling. And he really does play with the art form, that he'll kind of use different cartooning styles and different drawing styles. He'll even have a prose section. He'll kind of tell a story without word balloons. I think he really plays with the art form in other ways that he doesn't get to in his more mainstream work. But I am really excited. I got this a couple weeks ago on Jess's recommendation at a comic book store, and that is The Spirit by Darwin Cook. I cannot wait to read these stories because I love his artwork, and I think, Jess, you told me these are fantastic stories.
Yeah, he does a great job with them.
Do they continue with this series after he leaves? Like, are there more Spirit books after this?
Yeah, I think so, but I was only interested in the Darwin stories.
And so I think the hope is that at some point we'll do a crime corner, including some of these books.
Yeah.
I really want to read them.
Yeah.
I've never read any Spirit in my entire life, but Jess said this is a good place to start. It's kind of a reimagining or a reboot of sorts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you have any of the Will Eisner stuff? I can't remember if you do.
Not of the Spirit, no. I read the Spirit a lot as a kid, but I never loved him enough to collect him. He's great, but I don't have any collected. I mean, there's a huge collected edition thing of the Spirit. I mean, just Will Eisner's alone is super big bookcase full of them.
What's his summary? Like, who is the Spirit? Like, what does he have a power subset, or is he more like just like a crime fighter?
He's a crime fighter that wears a mask and a hat.
He comes back from the dead, right?
That was always my assumption.
Okay. I only watched the Spirit movie, which was horrible, so I don't really know a lot about him.
Directed by Frank Miller.
Yes, and unfortunately, it's really, really, really bad. And I think if he had Robert Rodriguez, who helped him, who co-directed or mainly directed the Sin City movies, it probably would have been a little bit better. Actually, probably not, because the script was horrible. The whole thing was just laughable. Yeah, I think Frank Miller wrote the script, and it was just bad, and the dialogue was just so cringeworthy. The movie looked really good. It looked like Sin City, but just with the Spirit characters in it.
I love Sin City.
I love the first Sin City movie. The second one is just okay. I didn't like it that much, but the first Sin City movie is a classic, in my opinion. It's just a classic of, I wouldn't say it's maybe a classic is too strong of a word. It's definitely pushed the envelope in what you could do with movies in terms of visuals. I'll put it that way. We don't talk about that movie. It is bad. Talking about the Spirit. Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone who's in that movie, Samuel L. Jackson, Scarlett Johansson, Eva Mendes, would like to not be reminded of that.
Oh, that's a lot of good actors.
I really want to get Sin City, and because the really big Sin City, it's just not really for me because of how large it is.
Yeah.
But the library editions are way out of print and super exorbitantly priced. So I might just have to go with the trade paperbacks, but even some of those can be difficult to find.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Those library editions look really nice, though. I've seen some videos of them. I would love to
cool.
Because I love those stories, and I love the art. I just don't. I hope they can reprint the library edition someday, but I doubt that with how big of a seller the really big one is. And as the Minister of Comics, I don't want to say the whole title of what that book's called. The big format of Sin City. You know what it's called.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't want to lose my Minister of Comics status. All right, so I guess I'm next. And this is a book I had in trades, but I upgraded, and I just reread it last night because I've got the other library editions in. Not last night, the other week. And that is Black Hammer by Jeff Lemire. This is a fantastic story. Everyone needs to read this. And I was thinking about what I was going to do with my trades. I'm thinking about giving it to one of my friends, but I'm not sure if I should, because I don't know if this story will mean a lot to people who don't have a really big background in comic books, because it really is, I wouldn't want to say it's a parody, but it really homages different. What's that?
It's an homage.
Yeah, it's an homage. Like, look at this cover. That harkens back to the early days of Image with the belts, with all of the different equipment he's wearing, the spikes. like someone who doesn't really read DC and Marvel wouldn't really get some of the in jokes in this book. But if you're someone who's really adept at DC, Marvel, and old Image books or old Golden Age and Silver Age comic books, this is the book for you because it really is a great twist on that genre where this group of Golden Age / Silver Age heroes from one planet are transported to another on this farm that they're not allowed to leave or they're destroyed. They're pretty much incinerated. And they're stuck there and they feel like they can't leave because if they do, they'll die. All the different struggles that they have while they're there. And this is a fantastic book, one of my top 3 Jeff Lemire books. And it has so much in terms of back matter. It has so many extras, scripts. It has different covers. It has different art process stuff in it. It's just a fantastic book. And everyone needs to pick up this book in this format if they can. The trades are fine, but this book deserves to be read in a premium format.
You know what else I like about the Black Hammer books is they come out on time and frequently. They, you know how we've been waiting forever for like the 4th Seven to Eternity book,
right?
The Black Hammer universe. There's like 5 different trades of different subjects plus the Black Hammer story, and he just keeps it coming. And that's why it's been so easy to get into it and follow it and develop a love for it, is that it comes out on time all the time and you're able to collect it and read it and really love it.
And I really think that Hellboy kind of blazed the trails for Black Hammer, whereas Hellboy is kind of a long-standing series, but it's made up of small mini-series, which I think is a really good idea. So you don't lose people's interest. So there are beginning, middles, and ends for these stories, even though there is a big overarching story. Because Black Hammer, the main storyline is only 2 library editions. And the other library editions that are coming out are stories set in that world, which I think is really smart. I think that's why Jeff Lemire is able to get so much Black Hammer out, because it's with different artists, it's different stories, and he's really rounding out his own universe. So I think he was really smart in how he set that up. And I heard in an interview that Jeff Lemire can write a script in a day. So I think he can really churn those things out and get into artists really quick.
Wow. Lloyd Wong asks, did you ever get the Justice League Black Hammer crossover? The completionist in me is considering getting it. I got it, and I liked it a lot.
I should probably get that. I love Black Hammer, and I love the Justice League. Sounds like a no-brainer.
It's not I mean, it's a believable crossover, how it works.
Is it who's brought into whose world? Do you remember?
Let me get it, because
the last crossover like that I really enjoyed was, we reviewed this with T-Lar Blunt, and that is the TMNT Batman crossover that we all enjoyed. And that, I think that was done in a believable way. Is that a standard size hardcover?
Yep.
Okay.
A strange man arrives simultaneously on Black Hammer Farm and in Metropolis, and both worlds are warped as Starro attacks. Blah, 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 and more crossover with Gale. So, of course, my memory's so bad that I just read it, and I can't remember that much about it, but I remember I really enjoyed it, and I really dug everything about it. So,
is it written by Jeff Lemire?
Jeff Lemire. Wait, is it Lemire and Walsh or just Jeff Lemire? Written by Jeff Lemire, art by Michael Walsh.
Okay, cool.
Oops, there's a. I almost gave a spoiler page away that explains the whole crossover.
Oh, is that the Spirit?
The Spectre, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I got tied up in the Spirit from a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, so I enjoyed it. I would highly recommend this book.
I should probably pick it up because I'm picking up all the library editions, so I should have this crossover as well. And Hayden McGee says it can't be as bad as the Justice League Power Rangers crossover. That's too bad because Jess just became a fan of the Power Rangers last year, or this past year.
It's not bad at all. It's great. I really like this. I really liked it a lot.
Well, hopefully you guys will be getting back to your TMNT readathon now that T-Lar Balloon's a little bit freed up.
Yeah, that'd be good.
People are foaming at the mouth for more Omnidog and T-Bone. And someone Orsted is talking about his favorite premium edition, which is All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison.
Orsted, yeah, absolute all-star Superman.
I only have that in trade paperback, but I would love to have the absolute. But I'm pretty sure that just went out of print.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it went out of print during the whole COVID thing, where people are kind of snatching stuff up. So maybe one day they'll reprint it. Who knows? But I'm happy with the trade, but I would like to have the absolute.
I'm sure they will. Yeah, I love that absolute.
And Nick is asking about the reading order of Black Hammer. I saw an official reading order that someone posted on the Omnibus Collectors Comic Swap and Community on Facebook. It's actually the first library edition, then the World of Black Hammer, and then the second main story library edition. That's the official reading order that I saw. And then the second World of Black Hammer after that, whenever that comes out next year.
Okay.
All right, Jess, your turn for your...
This is probably one of the prizes. This is a big indulgence that I did, but I'm a super huge fan of Madman.
Aren't they doing something with that soon? Like a reprint or something?
Yeah,
or
they're reprinting all of his stuff. I think in a series of hardcovers. I think they're going to be in color. His wife's going to be coloring them.
Okay. Yeah, Laura Allred's a really great colorist.
Right. And so this opens up. Okay, wait.
Whoa. It's like a cigar box or something.
Yeah, hang on.
I'll answer this while you're talking. Ort said is asking if Black Hammer has an ending. Yeah, I think I said a couple minutes ago that the Black Hammer 1 and 2 on library editions, Volume 2 is the ending of the main storyline, but they're still coming out with the World of Black Hammer stories, which are set in the same universe, but they're separate from the main story, which did end with the second library edition. Keep going, Jess.
Okay. I'll have to stand up for this. So, because I don't want to knock anything over. So this, I did an overview of this on my channel if you want to see it. It opens up like this.
Whoa.
And then it's got 3D baseball cards. So you've got little 3D glasses and 3D baseball card sheet. And then it's got a ribbon. Oh, wait. First, then it's got a special signed Madman thing, signed and numbered.
Is that a printing or is that actual art?
That's a drawing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, I did a overview of this on my channel.
Do you know if everybody got the same drawing or if it was different?
No, everybody got a different drawing.
Oh, that's so cool. I've never seen that before.
I think what he did was those drawings are... Okay, here's where this is the tricky part because he used the ribbon to bring the book out. So let me set it down.
We don't want another little Nemo incident, so take your time.
No. Okay. So, and then it's his 25 favorite stories that he did. And so it's all colored. And it's signed and numbered. So there's only a few of these made. I think there was 56 of them made.
56. Wow.
Well, that was the number. Yeah, 56 copies.
Was that hard to get then, or did you have an easy time getting it?
This is, yeah, see, it's signed, numbered. Numbered right there.
Oh, wow. So you have 36? Is that what it says?
56.
56, okay.
Copy 14.
That's crazy. That's like super limited.
Yeah, I remember that it's one of those things where you had to go on, order really fast, and then get out. So you couldn't use PayPal. You had to use your credit card because PayPal slows things up too much. So now there's a cell. Where am I thinking of? I think what he did was he took this drawing. Everybody's got a different drawing of this, and he put them together in animated form. Each one is sequentially like Madman in action, and so you can see on YouTube he's running when you put these all together.
That's really cool, Jess. You should get that framed or something. That's a really cool picture.
Yeah, it comes in its own package right here. I feel like I'm missing something that was really important here because of the aspect of Madman in action. I guess you maybe you go to his website or something, and that's where
someone said it's still on the IDW website.
Not with the sketch.
Oh, okay. Just the really nice slipcase and everything. That little
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, not with the sketch and the 3D baseball cards.
I can't think of a premium edition like that where it actually comes with a real sketch.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's more your forte than me, the cheapskate. But me and Jess always joke around how I'm a cheapskate. But that's really cool.
Yeah, I would say this is probably the prize of my collection. Just
I can see why.
Like Madman, and it's got this white cover, so your hands always have to be really clean, or it'll pick up thumbprints. So I'm just gonna go gently put it back into its place right now.
That's really. I think that I definitely understand why that is the crown jewel of your collection. Everyone's really drooling over it and saying that really is a prestige format. That's amazing. People say I want that. Yeah. So it looks like it's still available on the IDW's website, just without a sketch. But that's still a cool collected edition. The only thing is it's really inconvenient to read, I would guess.
Yeah, yeah.
You almost want to get you almost want to get that and then get like the other edition so you can actually read it easily. But that is really cool, though. So the next one I'm going to talk about is one that I showed off on the horror episode I was able to kind of co-star with Jess on Omni Bros last week whenever he was in distress when all the other Omni Bros had to leave 20 minutes into the video. So I jumped in at the last minute. And that is Harrow County by Cullen Bunn. I just love these library editions. We've been talking about that a lot this episode. I mean, come on. $50 for, I mean, no, this one's only $40. This is the last one. $40 for this beautiful volume. And I love the cover. Even the cover feels really nice. I would almost sleep on this cover if I didn't want to ruin it. It's so nice. It's so sleek. Again, the page quality is amazing. I mean, I know we all kind of get annoyed by really thin pages, especially in Marvel books. That's definitely not the problem in this story. And this story, the Tyler Crook art, definitely deserves this oversized format. And again, it has a ribbon, which we talked about loving. Even though I don't use it very much, I do like that it's there. There's no other way to collect this book. If you have the trades, that's fine, but I would definitely encourage you to upgrade because this book deserves to be seen in this format. I think my favorite library editions are definitely this and Black Hammer. I love these books. So definitely and they're really thin, so they're not too hard to read. There's only 4 of them. I think they're kind of harder to get. I think we talked about this last week, Jess, that 2 of them are out of print, or maybe 1 of them is out of print. I can't remember.
Oh, okay. I thought I forget. It's like number 2 or number 1 is out.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think it's one, like a random one, like 2 or 3 or something. Because I remember you were sticking with the trades for a while. Then once again, I talked you into upgrading, and I think you had to order Volume 3 off of Amazon or something. I
I think it was
remember
two.
it was
Yeah,
Volume 2. I remember one of them was hard. You got the other ones on IST, I believe.
yeah.
I remember you had a hard time finding one of them.
Yeah, I did. Number 2.
So as you can see, Jess is the one who has the super rare, cool collectible ones, and I just have ones that are absolutes or library editions. But I
Well,
still like them though.
we're at different points in our collecting careers too. You're just starting out, and I've been at it a long time too. So you're further ahead in your career than I was at this point in my, when I was 30 years
And
old.
you're an empty nester while I have Bat Sam in the
Yeah,
house.
you're just at the beginning of that adventure.
Right. But I still love these books that I'm showing though, so I'm fine.
Yeah.
But the ones you have are awesome. The different
Well,
collector's items that you have.
that Madman one is the the only one like that. I mean, the other ones are out of print, but mean a lot to me because of they were gifts from friends.
This is another reason why I am bummed I didn't get to come visit in May when I was supposed to kind of see all the different books that you have. I feel like every collected editions person should come see your basement at some point in their lives.
No,
You can charge admission.
I'll do that.
once the COVID stuff kind of comes to a close, you can open your basement up as a museum or a collector's museum of some sort.
That's why I really need to do a video tour.
People keep asking for it.
I know.
I've been encouraging Jess to do it.
I feel like I'm getting very close. Things are getting more organized, and things are a lot. My record collection's completely organized now. I just have a couple things to do with my book collection, and then I'll be able to do it.
Yeah, I remember you texting me whenever you were kind of organizing your vinyl and throwing away the ones that got destroyed in the flood. I think that was a big burden off your shoulders once you finally finished that. Because you were putting that off for like 3 years, weren't you?
Yeah, because that was really hard throwing that vinyl away. I mean, it was ruined, and I just couldn't. It was ruined and from the flood, but it was a lot of stuff, from my teenage and years in my 20s and stuff that meant a lot to me. And now of course you can just listen to it on Spotify, but I finally, it was just a ripping off of the Band-Aid. I finally said, all these albums are stuck together. I can't even get them apart anymore. They're all stuck together like glue from the flood. It's time. And I just finally threw them all away.
I'm sure it's kind of like a burden that's off your shoulders in some way to deal with it anymore. Now that it's finally thrown out.
It is. Yeah. It's a huge burden.
But I'm definitely calling that's going to be a heavily watched video whenever it finally goes up.
Michael Emond, Omnidog, I love your overviews of graphic novels. Oh, well, thank you. You and I share the same taste. Old school, represent. Thank you, buddy.
I think Jess purposely skipped over Hayden's comment.
You can do better than that, Hayden.
All right, Jess, what's your next choice?
I'll stick with Cullen Bunn and go with the Coffin edition of Sixth Gun, the first volume.
Do you have that all in the Coffin editions, all 6 of them?
Only number 1 was done like this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what the issue is, how cool it is, and only number 1 was done like this. So it's got chains here, and you open it up, and here's the old man that's been chained up forever, and you pop the book out as you do with the Madman with the ribbon.
Are the Gunslinger editions the regular deluxe ones?
Gunslinger, this is a Gunslinger edition. It's oversized.
Okay. And then they have the deluxe, and then they have the trades.
Correct.
Even the deluxes are really expensive. I think those are $80.
I think those are hard to get too now.
I remember I wanted to pick all 6 of them up, but it was a bundle just to get all of them, even in deluxe.
Okay.
In my cheapskate fashion, I didn't pull the trigger in time.
Yeah. See, that's one thing about being impulsive is that I pull the trigger quickly.
Well, Jess has a bunch of hiding cubbies, which I don't have in my office.
Okay, I had the ribbon in the wrong place, so I had to tip it out. It also comes with a poster that is
that's cool.
Is it a poster or print? I can't. There it is. Okay, it's a print, but it's not signed or numbered or anything. But it's a cool print.
That is really cool. If you had more room in your on your walls, you could frame that. That's pretty cool.
Had more room.
I was trying to talk Jess into getting one of the posters that I got from Sean Phillips. I got a cool print from Sean Phillips' website. But Jess said I have no room to put that on my walls in my basement. I said put them over your bed or in your bathroom. I'm sure your wife would love that.
It is so cool, that print you got, and so it's a giant size of the 6th gun, and I did a review of this series too. So feel free to go to my channel and look at this.
I really do want to read that. I love Cullen Bunn.
Review of all these. Whoa.
And we also did a interview with Cullen Bunn earlier this year. You should all check out if you haven't watched that already. That was a great interview it was really great to talk to Cullen. He's a really nice guy. He told us a lot of really interesting things. So if you haven't watched that, go back after the live show and check it out.
He was great.
He was, all the interviews we've had have been great. And it's been really nice and refreshing to see that people in the comic book industry are generally nice. Obviously, there are outliers who are jerks. But in my experience so far in interviews, they've all been nothing but kind and generous to us.
Yeah, they've all been great.
Can you imagine just getting someone on a show and they're just like a total jerk? I don't think they'd even talk to us if they
probably wouldn't even come on the show if they were cranky.
I doubt it.
Yeah. So that was the Cullen Bunn Coffin Edition, Volume 1.
And Michael Emond, do you not have to feel ashamed of your collection because of Jess's books? As Jess just said, we're all in different places in our collecting endeavors. There's no need to be ashamed. Our collections are just there to reflect the things that we love, and they bring us joy and happiness. So if that happens to you, that's all you need.
Yeah, no one's judging you. I'm not judging anybody. I think everybody's collection is wonderful, and probably the best you can do is the best you can do, and it makes it great. Whatever you put together is your collection, and that makes it special.
Yeah, and doing these shows, doing Omni Bros like Jess does, the intention's never to be like, hey, everybody, look how great my collection is and yours sucks. It's always just like, hey, these are some great books that you should check out if you're able to. So it's never to make anyone feel bad.
No, and I didn't even come up with this topic, just so you know.
Yeah, I came up with the topic, so I'm the one who forced Jess to show off his really nice books. All right, so the next one, my next two choices are my favorite absolutes that I own, and this next one's probably my favorite modern day Batman story, and that is Absolute Black Mirror by Scott Snyder and Jock. I just love the presentation of this book, and the back is one of my favorite Batman covers of all time. I just love that image so much. It's fantastic. And I mean, this Joker image is also iconic as well. I'm pretty sure Riley used to have this as a poster on his wall. Yeah. I'm not sure if he has that anymore with his wall-to-wall bookcases he has now. I just think this is the best that Scott Snyder has ever done, and which is saying a lot because this is like one of the first books he ever did. This is his first work on Batman. It is a fantastic book. If you don't own this, you really need to have it. I'm not sure if the Absolute is out of print or not, but even if you can't find the Absolute, at least get it in trade paperback. If you're a Batman fan, this is a book that you need to have. I make it really well known that Jock is one of my top 5 favorite artists, so having him in oversized format is a no-brainer for me. But this is set before Tom King. This is set before Scott Snyder's New 52 work. And even though I love The Court of Owls, I love Death in the Family, I love Endgame, this is by far my favorite Batman work he's ever done. And it's the perfect Taylor Brown book. It's dark, it's moody, it has a great mystery, it has a great central villain, and James Gordon Jr., who is James Gordon's psychopathic son, who does a lot of creepy stuff in this book. And it ends with a great cliffhanger that just chills you to your very core. And Jess and I, this is our second Baturdays review of all we've ever done. So if you want to check out more of this book, this is our second Baturdays we ever did back in probably July of last year. So go and check that out. I love this book.
I probably asked this question on the show, but when in his evil form was James Gordon first introduced?
He was first introduced as a character in Batman Year One as an infant. And Scott Snyder brought him in as an adult in Black Mirror. That's the first time he showed back up. Okay, so it's kind of a character that's kind of like never even addressed throughout the history of Batman.
So the first appearance of James Gordon as an evil guy is Black Mirror?
Is by Scott Snyder.
Okay.
So the character we know as James Gordon Jr. is basically an invention of Scott Snyder, even though the character technically existed before that.
Okay.
He was the baby who fell off a bridge in Batman Saved in Year One.
Right.
And so the question also is, which is really interesting, is his psychosis after effect of him falling off that bridge? Or was that always going to be there anyway? It's the whole nature versus nurture discussion. So I think just for that reason alone, for seeing a psychotic Gordon, you need to read that book. And he is super creepy. The Joker shows up and he can't hold a candle to how creepy James Gordon Jr. is.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know what it is about James Gordon Jr. that freaks me out so much.
Well, I think I know because we talked about this a couple times. You said the scariest book in your collection isn't a horror book. It's Dark Knight by Paul Dini.
Yeah.
Again, it's about how common evil is. It can happen anywhere. And I think James Gordon Jr. just shows that even your next door neighbor, this really nice looking guy who seems to be a gentleman, can be a psychopath. You have no idea.
Yeah.
People who are true villains don't wear signs around their neck that say, "Hey, I'm a villain," or wear superhero villain costumes. They are wolves in sheep's clothing. And that's why he's so terrifying.
Right. Okay, you're right.
All right, Jess, so what's the next one do you want to show off?
The next one is Kirby Fourth World.
That's the nicest looking absolute that I'll never get.
Well, because I'm
just not interested in the story, but I admit that's a fantastic absolute, and Jack Kirby's a great artist.
Yeah,
I can't handle the Silver Age stories.
It's a definite. His Fourth World's definitely an acquired taste. I was a teenager when they first came out, so I read all of those things as they came out. And so you see Darkseid's face disappears as you pull out this. This has a smell to it.
Is it a good smell or a bad smell?
It's kind of an artificial smell. Maybe, I don't know, is it glued? No, it's sewn. I don't know.
My wife always says when she comes into my office, it smells so good in here. All the books just combine together to give a nice collector's whiff.
Yeah.
I love the smell of my library.
So then we got this is the interior.
A nice Jackson Pollock.
Yeah. It's like 3D.
Because I think, did you have the Omni and then you upgraded to the Absolute?
I had the Omni, decided I didn't dig it, and sold it, and then regretted it. And so then I bought this.
That would be a good episode. Books you regret selling. That'd be more for you than for me, probably.
Yeah, you're probably right.
That'd be a good solo episode for you to do.
What books I regret selling?
I don't really sell very much. I haven't really regretted any I've sold, but I know that you've had that in your life.
I regret. There's one in particular that I regret selling, but this is so nicely done. The only thing, of course, is the early issues with Superman with the redrawn face, and that just really irk me still today. It irked me back when I was a kid, and it irks me now.
Is it because they didn't like his version of Superman because it wasn't a part of their house style?
Exactly.
Right. It's kind of like what happened with Darwin Cook's Wonder Woman. He wanted to do a Wonder Woman story after that, but they didn't like his version of a big boned Amazonian.
Yeah. And it was my favorite artist who became the publisher or editor in chief or whatever he was, Carmine Infantino, who had Vince Colletta erase all of Jack Kirby's faces on Superman and redo them. And that, I mean, it still bothers me today. It doesn't affect me personally. I don't know why I am so upset about it, but
what artist in that time defined the house style for Superman?
Probably Kurt Swan.
Okay. So like whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow type Superman.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, that doesn't seem to fit Jack Kirby at all. That's not his style.
Yeah,
I think most people would agree that Jack Kirby is the king of comics. Obviously, that's his title. He's a fantastic artist, a great imagination, but he wasn't the best writer, especially with dialogue. And that's kind of the big complaint I hear about those stories. They're imaginative, they're filled with great characters, but the stories aren't as compelling as the central conceit. But again, you buy absolutes for that artwork, and that is fantastic artwork. I'm just speaking from what I've heard. I'm sure there are people who do love the story thing. He's a great writer. I'm just talking from what I've heard.
Yeah, anybody that here's Superman's face, and it obviously does not look like Jack Kirby drew it.
Oh no, not at all.
Then there's the flip side of the people that think Jack Kirby is the one who, like Gabe, feels that Jack Kirby needs more credit as somebody that wrote a lot of the Silver Age classic stuff of like Fantastic Four and Thor and X-Men and stuff that he drew, that the way that he drew set up the whole story, really.
Right. I mean, we can all argue or discuss, how much Stan Lee contributed versus Jack Kirby, but you can't argue that was a dynamic duo who worked fantastic. They produced fantastic comics together.
Yeah, actually, I'm not the one to make that argument because I don't believe it. I'm just saying there are people out there who do believe it.
Well, I do believe that Jack Kirby doesn't get enough credit, especially in the mainstream. Most people don't know who he is.
Right.
We know who he is because we're comic fanatics. But almost everybody who's seen a Marvel movie knows who Stan Lee is.
Yeah.
But no one knows who Jack Kirby is. It was the same with, I think it's even more egregious with Batman. Bob Kane was a jerk and really screwed over Bill Finger. Watch that documentary on Hulu if you haven't watched it, everybody in the chat. It's a sad story, but it's one that we need to discuss as comic book fans. But I still think Stan Lee did get a lot of the credit that other creators like Steve Ditko and Jack Kirby and John Romita Sr. really deserve as well. So I think Stan Lee is obviously super important. He's one of the most important comic creators of all time, but I think sometimes he did kind of take the spotlight off his other guys who really deserved it too.
Right. Yeah, and I think they, together as a team, they created amazing things, and that Jack Kirby still needs more credit.
Yeah, I think Fourth World is a perfect example of how Jack Kirby really needed a partner, like in Stan Lee, to help him with some of these other things. Maybe he had blind spots in.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, that's probably true.
And someone asked earlier, this is a good question, where we sell our comics whenever we do sell them. I think, Jess, you do that more often than I do, in various formats.
I've had Taylor and I are members of the Facebook group, the Omnibus Collectors Comic Swap and Community. I've had luck selling stuff there. I think people have had a lot of luck selling on Facebook Marketplace. Sometimes I sell on eBay, but usually I will go to the group. Like I have all the Black Hammer stuff now that I need to sell because of World of Black Hammer and Black Hammer 2 library editions that came out. So I need to sell those, and I'll probably do that on Facebook.
Yeah, I'll sell some stuff on eBay whenever I rarely sell stuff, or I've sold stuff on the group. Sometimes it's not even worth selling because it's not really going to get you that much money. So sometimes I'll just take a bunch of stuff I don't want anymore to half price books. I know you donate to the library sometimes.
And I take him to Second and Charles too.
Right, so I can make a couple bucks, not really that much. Or I have some friends who have a cursory interest in comics, and I'll give them some. But if I do sell, it's usually on eBay or the Facebook group. All right, so I'll go on with my final choice. I think Jess has a couple more that he can
I have
walk
one
through.
more.
Oh, you
Yeah,
have one more. Okay. So this is probably I love Black Mirror, but this is my favorite Absolute Edition, and that is World's Greatest Superheroes by Paul Dini.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this book isn't just tall, it's the widest Absolute you can buy too, because these were published in a magazine format. It's even hard to get. It's even impressive coming out of the slipcase. We did a Alex Ross video a couple months ago on Baturdays. This was my favorite DC work that Alex Ross has ever done, and my favorite Marvel work was Marvels, which is a fantastic book that everyone needs to get. But Paul Dini is one of my favorite writers. He's my favorite Batman writer, and he just does some phenomenal stories in this book. He does a Batman story, he does a Wonder Woman story, a Superman story. He has a couple Justice League stories, Shazam, and he just gets the characters. And most of these stories aren't normal stories where it's like word balloons. It almost has like narration in it.
Yeah.
It's almost like telling you what's happening in this story. And you just sit back and just marvel at the awesome Alex Ross artwork. And I would argue that if you are somewhat newer to DC and want to dive into a Absolute Edition, this is the first one you should get. Because first of all, it's only $75 cover price, which is really cheap for Absolute, and it really gives you a good snapshot of who all these characters are. And there's even a whole story that's just dedicated to telling you their origin. So I think this is the best Absolute for a new fan to DC to buy. That's just my personal. I think we both talked about that. This is the only new reader friendly Alex Ross book you can get. Because Marvels is not new reader friendly. Kingdom Come is definitely not new reader friendly, or Justice. So if you really want to dip your toes into Alex Ross or the DC universe, especially in the prestige format, pick up this book.
Yeah. I think my copy's even cheaper than that.
Oh, really?
Because that's the reprint. Let me see what mine cost.
Mine was only $75 cover price. I think I got it on IST for like $40.
Mine was $50.
Whoa. That's
that
great.
was the original printing.
You jerks at DC jacking up the prices.
See, 50. So Absolutes used to be cheaper.
Is that true for all the Absolutes? Like, was like,
yeah.
Was that cheaper?
Yeah, I think the first Absolutes that came out were like $45 and $50.
Jeez, and they hiked up to $100.
Yeah. I don't know what my JLA Avengers one was. I feel like it was like $50.
I'm all for supporting your local comic book store, but I can't imagine walking into a comic book store and slapping down $100 for an Absolute or an omnibus and paying cover price. I mean, maybe it's out of print or something, but like it's hard to beat those deals you can get on in-stock trades and other websites. $100 is a lot of money.
Well, when I got those two, I didn't know about in-stock trades when I got those two Absolutes, so I paid $50 for both of them.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I wish they were that cheap now. That'd be fantastic.
I agree. Yeah.
All right, Jess, what's your final choice?
The last one is the only one I haven't read, but it's also an amazing presentation, and I look forward to reading it.
Ooh, are you taking off the cellophane tonight?
No, it's already been taken
okay.
off. It's the super fancy edition of Metabarons.
Is that Humanoids?
Yeah, the definitive edition, and it's gigantic.
Wow.
And I just haven't had the chance. First of all, it's intimidating when you get a book this big.
Oh, yeah. I wonder how many pages it is.
Now you know why I review so many thin, Marvel trades, because I can read them so quickly. And then this pops out, and you get the two books here.
I like that it's two books inside of it. That'd be really intimidating if it was just one massive tome.
Yeah, so these slip out.
I'm gonna look up the page count on this thing. Someone's asking how much it weighs. I'm gonna look up on Amazon.
Well, at least 10 pounds. Let's see. Which one?
I'm guessing that's really out of print.
What's that?
I'm guessing that's super out of print already.
I actually don't know.
It's only 548 pages, and you're really close, Jess. It's 9.5 pounds.
Oh, wow. So let me get so you can see the artwork, which people go crazy over, besides the writing.
Is this probably one of the more famous humanoids books?
I think
the Inkle
famous is probably the Inkle.
Yeah.
And you're probably right. Metabarons is probably one of the second most. The Inkle series, and anybody from Europe will have an opinion on which one's more popular, which one's more famous, which one's the best.
Ooh, it's nice and violent.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone says it's out of print.
Oh, okay.
That's not surprising with that kind of limited edition box set.
Right. And same with the definitive edition of the Inkle, which I didn't get because I had the first absolute sized the Inkle. So here's book 2.
You should do like a humanoids episode at some point.
I actually, Geo has been asking us to do that.
Oh, an Omnibros. Okay.
Well, he wants Omar and me to do it, but I think I might have read more humanoids books than Omar has so far.
Like Bramble.
I
think that was one of your first root beer baths. I remember dying laughing at that one.
Gosh, I hated that book.
I remember. You're generally very positive, but there are some books that bring out that rage in you.
Yeah, I wasn't as mad as I was about User, but
we were texting about that today.
What's that?
Yeah, we were texting about how mad you were at User.
Yeah, I snapped at you. I don't remember.
It wasn't like you were mean to me. It was just funny. I was just like, Jess, how's the artwork? And you said, Taylor. Like you put my name in the beginning, Taylor. It was the artwork that displayed these horrific events. And I was like, dude, I'm just asking how the artwork was. I think you were still in your rage zone at that point.
Yeah, I'm sure I was. Well, Marcella, I can't say for sure that I've read more anything than Omar. He's a reading machine, so I don't want to go on record as saying I might have read more than Omar.
Yeah, Riley and Omar read more than any other person I know.
Yeah, I throw Peter M in there too. He reads an incredible amount with those guys.
Well, I don't think Omar reads as many single issues as he used to, but I know Riley really reads a lot of single issues.
Yeah.
Like it's at the point where I feel like he gets in a collected edition and doesn't read it because he's already read it in single issues. Like he's like, oh, I love this book, and he puts it on a shelf, and he's like, I've already read it. Yeah, so I think he really reads everything that pretty much comes out from Marvel and DC, especially. And Man 40 has a question about Metabarons that I can't answer because I don't really know much about it.
Aren't those Metabarons very niche? The only one I have heard great things about is Inkle. Sometimes those books can be very hit or miss. The Metabarons books, I only Metabarons. I don't have. I mean, I have the Techno Priests and Final Inkle, before the Inkle, the Techno Priests. That's really all I have of those particular books. If there's a Metabarons season, I'm sorry. If there's a series of Metabarons books, I don't have them. But yeah, they're European books. So that's going to be a smaller audience, and they're science fiction-y books, so that's going to be a smaller audience. So yeah, I would say they're niche, and humanoids is very hit or miss. I've dumped root beer on a couple of humanoids books. I don't dump root beer on books anymore, but those were two books that I dumped root beer on were humanoids books. Savage Highway was the other one.
I don't think you've read any of the books that are under the jurisdiction of Mark Waid yet, because I know they have some books coming out that sound really interesting.
Yeah,
and we obviously haven't read them yet because they're not in collected edition yet. All right,
oh yeah, it'll be a while before we read them.
You kept freezing up, so I think you're back to normal now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't like a Taylor Brown total freeze, but it was kind of it was freezing up a little. I was about to say something, but then it stopped. So you're good now. And Michael Eamon says he has New Frontiers as only absolute. That's a great absolute to own, though. That's one of my favorites.
There it is. Yeah, it's a great book.
And News Pool Channel, what brand of root beer do you drink / dump?
Root beer that I love is Sprecher's. That's what I drink. And what I dump is A&W Diet. I hate it. Or Barks. That's crappy root beer. Barks is awful. I don't do it anymore. It was, my shtick 3 years ago when I first started the channel, although I burst into a rage and did it to the book a month ago on the Omnicat and Omnidog show.
I don't think it's worth the negative feedback you get from a select few.
At this point, no.
I would say the vast majority don't care, but there's like 2 or 3 people who get really upset about it. So I don't think it's worth the effort.
I agree. It was just supposed to be a funny way of disapproving of really crappy writing or a book I didn't like or hated. And it was, a way to say, I wouldn't even give this book away. I wouldn't donate it to the library. I wouldn't give it to a child. This was also back when I was drinking, a root beer float a day and 40 pounds overweight. So, but I don't do it anymore. If I don't like a book, I just won't review it.
And Lloyd Wong says Riley has like 70% of his collection read, and Omar has like 60 to 65. Jess, what do you think you're up to at this point?
20%.
I think I'm up to 75 or 80%.
Oh, that's good.
I would say maybe 75. I like to keep a good like 25% buffer so I can have choices based on what I feel like reading.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have just 2 books to choose from. I want to have a decent amount to choose from as I go forward to see, I'm not in the mood for this, but I really do want to read this. So I try to keep that buffer going.
Yeah, MN40, I'll do a humanoids video since I just saw Omar has done a humanoids video. I'll do one of the books I've read, and there are a lot of good ones. I will be happy to tell you. Actually, I could make one right now because I've read enough humanoids books that I could make a good video of them.
Well, I think we've been talking. I think I told you. I think it'd be a good idea to do more like publisher-specific videos, like a spotlight video. I think people really seem to like the ones you've done. I think you've done Aftershock. I think you've probably done more than that. I can't remember at the top of my head, but people seem to love that. I want to jump into this publisher and tell me what to avoid and tell me what to jump into.
Yeah.
So that'd be a cool video that people would appreciate.
I am not being a copycat. He got the idea from Gina.
I'm sure there's been ideas that Omar's gotten from Jess too.
Actually, whatever. Right.
We're all friends here.
Yeah, everything's good. Okay, well that's it for my my prestige collection.
And I'm pretty wiped, so I'm ready to call it a night.
Okay. You can okay, thanks, Man40. I'll definitely do it. I can there's just 2 or 3 thin humanoid books that I need to read. And I can put one together. They do have an awful lot of books out. Thanks, Oracle. We talked about Future State in the very beginning of the show. I'm slightly more open to it, and Taylor is waiting to see what it looks like when it comes out to judge it.
Yesterday, Jess was more against it than I was. But now, after seeing one cover, he's changed his mind completely.
The Immortal Wonder Woman. Cloonan. I
just
know.
thought it was funny. Actually, Npool channel has a good question. Did we talk about Marvels during this video? We did talk about it a little bit. I didn't show it. I do love Marvels. That's one of my favorite Marvel books. It's in my top 10 books ever. I would personally recommend the new deluxe edition that Marvel did, because the one that Jess has is nice, but it's really hard to read. It's like huge.
It's super hard to read, so I would only get the deluxe edition.
So I think I have it over here. Hold on.
And I would definitely recommend it. It's one of my favorite books ever.
This is a fantastic volume. I'm pretty sure it's still in print, but don't take my word for it. Go check it out. It's really super thick. It's a great thick trade. It's $50, so it's reasonably priced. See all that white stuff? It's all the extras. There's a ton of extras.
Wow.
In this book. It's fantastic. So everyone definitely needs to pick up this book.
Yeah.
It's great.
100% recommend that book. Well, thank you for tuning in, everybody. I appreciate it. The chat was lively, and I saw some new names in there, so I appreciate that. We both appreciate that. And tomorrow I'll be on Omnibros at noon on Sunday. And in 2 weeks, do we know what our topic is 2 weeks from now?
Well,
the T-Lar Balloon episode?
I'm actually not going to be able to be on live for 2 weeks. I think we were talking about pre-recording like a review episode. Oh, so we can talk about that off air. But it's always my goal to always have at least some kind of video on Saturday. Most often, and I would say 90% of the time we do live. Sometimes we do pre-recorded. We haven't missed a show since June of 2019. So we're doing pretty good.
What was the reason for that? We missed a show. Do you remember?
No, so we never have.
Oh, we haven't. Oh,
we've always
started in June.
Yeah, we've always at least pre-recorded an episode and put it up.
Now look at all the compliments we're getting.
Thank you guys.
Peace and love, Bobby Keating. Thank you. Thank you to the chat, all these nice compliments. I should just keep talking so we get more nice compliments coming.
Yeah, I think Bobby Keating just showed up, unless he was here not commenting the whole time. Usually he's pretty active in the chat. So go back and watch the replay, Bobby. Sorry you came in at the last couple minutes.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for watching, and we will see you again in 2 Saturdays in recorded form, talking about something. I don't know what. So peace and love, peace and love. Thank you very much. I really appreciate all of you. Please leave a like. Please subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment. We always respond to comments. So thank you very much.